can't lie, lads. I think there's only one thing for this. Get dashed out of the way. Jesus Christ. Football Manager is a game that I have enjoyed for a long time now, okay? I don't know if you guys know, but I tend to stream over on Twitch, or I used to. I'm going to start again in the next month. And when I streamed, I played Football Manager pretty much exclusively. I played a few other things, played some retro FIFA games and stuff, but Football Manager was kind of my jam, all the way from like FM20 all the way to the most recent game, FM24. Now, if you're watching this, you probably already know the news. FM25 is a game I've not really spoken about on the channel too much, but a game that I love. It's getting delayed. All right, it was getting delayed. It was meant to come out in November, and then it was delayed all the way till March. The game now, permanently delayed. It's not coming out. FM25 has been cancelled, ladies and gentlemen. Sports Interactive and Sega have announced this, and this is naturally a big deal. I mean, imagine if EA just came out one day and said, yo, we ain't making FIFA no more for this year. You're going to have to wait till the next one. It's pretty rough, to be honest with you, especially given the impact this is going to have on content creators. Not like myself, I just stream it kind of for fun, but I feel bad for Football Manager content creators who are dealing with this, who, you know, their revenue kind of depends on a new game coming out every year. And also just the general consumer as well, obviously. Like, I love playing Football Manager in my spare time. So this is pretty sad overall. You're fuming if you're Cole Palmer, by the way. The guy's had like the greatest season that you could possibly have. The last 2 seasons, and he's still got the potential of a guy that's going to play for Middlesbrough in the Championship. It's rough.
What?
Because obviously that's one thing here, FM25 being cancelled. You're going to have to play FM24 now until November of this year. So for a full 2 years in a row, you have the same squad, same players, same teams and stuff. As you can see, Sports Interactive regret to inform, following extensive internal discussion and careful consideration with Sega, we have made a difficult decision to cancel Football Manager 25 and shift our focus to the next release. Now, later on in this press release, they talk about that they didn't want the game to come out as late as like April or May, because obviously the actual real life season's wrapping up already by that point. And they don't want people to have to buy 2 games in a short space of time. So that sort of infers that there is going to be a game, I imagine, called FM26 coming out at the end of the year. Maybe they'll just still call it FM25, but it'll just come out the year it was supposed to. I don't really know, and I'm just concerned because I really love Football Manager, and the way this has gone down has been a disaster. And Football Manager fans, I feel like, are quite loyal. Like a loyal species, you know. They'll go through a decent amount because at the end of the day, they have a love for the game. All that's beautiful in football, you know, loading up a new save and playing with the Indonesian 4th division and taking them all the way through the ranks to win the European Champions League. And I don't even know how that makes sense, okay? I don't know how a team from the Indonesian league could even win the European Champions League, but Football Manager players will make it happen, okay? So it's sad that they've been not treated, well, yeah, no, kind of treated in this way, ultimately, because I don't think the communication has been good enough. Basically, what happened was, you know, all the way back in, I think it may have been like October or November, it was announced that it was going to get delayed until March. And then since then, you know, during the statement that they made here, Sports Interactive, they basically said something about issues that they'd been very transparent with, that they'd told the consumer about. Generally, they haven't really done that, which is pretty peak. They kind of just went dark for about 4 months. They said that there was going to be a gameplay trailer that came out at the end of January, I think, when we all got to the 31st of January and realized they hadn't actually done that yet. The writing was kind of on the wall. But ultimately, apart from saying that they were struggling to adapt to a new engine that they're crossing over to, that's the reason why they've had this, you know, this sort of trouble, but also the reason why it was such a highly anticipated game. They're moving to the Unreal Engine, which was obviously going to make the actual menus look better, but also the gameplay and the actual highlights and stuff, the players, the animations, everything look a lot better. I think one thing that Football Manager has always been critiqued on in the last 10 years is that graphically it looks horrific in comparison to most games out there. I don't have a massive problem with that because I don't really play Football Manager for the graphics, but it's always good to try and do a little bit better and attract a new audience that may be put off by that, because I'm sure there are people that are. But they had a lot of troubles with that. They said that in November and then didn't actually say anything else after that at all. So I don't agree with them in the fact that they say their communication's been good. It hasn't at all, to be honest with you. But I do feel bad for the guys developing the game. I feel bad for the media team. To be honest, if I worked for Football Manager PR, I'd probably just mute my phone. Do not disturb for like 6 months, maybe. Honestly, probably just wrap that one up. It wasn't a great sign when a job became available of like a lead game designer 2 months before the game was supposed to come out. Like, imagine like a country's about to go to war and their prime minister just says, you know what, lads? Not feeling this one, actually. I'm gonna resign. There's kind of good and bad news, I guess, with this. The obvious bad news is that the consumer, the average fan of Football Manager, has lost the game, has completely missed out on an entire game cycle, and just isn't going to be able to play a new game for an entire 2 years between FM24 coming out ages ago and then FM26 coming out at some point at the end of this year. The bad news again for content creators, guys like Work the Space, Zealand, Tom, Dr. Benji, or everyone else, each streamers as well. Like, they don't have any new material, and I know for me, like, I don't have that anymore. I don't really do FIFA content as much as I used to, but for when you work as a YouTuber and you have like one game that you specialize in, the first 3 months, yeah, when the game comes out, you are eating fantastically, okay? You are earning, like, you're earning a decent amount, you're getting a decent amount of new viewership as well, like, you're getting subscribers through the door. It's an exciting time. Losing that for a whole year is rough, okay? So make sure to support your local Football Manager, like, sort of content creator. It not necessarily doesn't have to be financially, but just make sure you're giving them even just words of encouragement, man. I think they'll take that at this point, because it is pretty rough. And as I said, for the average fan, it's peak as well, and again, like, I think there will be a little bit of a relationship breakdown, just a small one, I think, because the communication wasn't good enough. I mean, what? We got a roadmap, immediate roadworks, because it got delayed, and roadworks in the UK never end well. We were in trouble from the jump, okay? The road had barely even opened. It was supposed to be a dual carriageway. Only one side of the road was actually working. What I'm trying to say is it was already off from the jump. And then there was kind of 3 months of silence, really. It's not great. It's not a good look. There obviously, you know, there's other reasons outside of just wanting to announce stuff, though. You've got to take into account licensing problems and legal issues that may have stopped them from actually talking about the issues that they were facing. So you've got to cut them a little bit of slack, but probably still wasn't good enough for a company that prides themselves on being very communicative to their community. The other bad news is that if you are someone who plays a lot of football games, you now actually have to play FC25 for a bit just to pass the time. Which I wouldn't really wish on my worst enemy at this stage in my life. FIFA, I'm just going to call it FIFA for the sake of argument, is a horrific experience most of the time. There are some elements of good news, I guess, outside of the critique, though. First of all, kind of commendable to actually cancel the game in a weird way. Like, just let me land for a second. A lot of games companies would see this situation happen, would say, you know what? We kind of just want to put a game out just so that we don't avoid a complete loss for the whole year financially. Let's just put something out that's definitely underbaked, doesn't work properly, and then patch it later down the line. This was EA Sports, did absolutely do that. So there's an element of commendability that they've decided to just be honorable, fall on their sword and go, nah, it's not ready, but we don't want you to have to buy it. That's fair enough. If you did buy the game, if you did pre-order the game, from like an obvious source like a Steam or from their website, you will get a refund, which is good. And I guess we now should get a really polished Football Manager 2026. Like, there's no excuse, I think, at this point for them to not get that right. I mean, if we get to FM26 and it's not had some real, like, massive improvements or massive additions, if it's not the smoothest, best looking Football Manager you've ever seen in your life, then there's going to be problems ultimately. So yeah, it's rough. I think the other thing that makes it even more rough is that we're not even getting an update in terms of squads for the season that's just gone by. They said that that's gonna take a lot of time and that it would take resources away from actually making the next game, which I get, even if they just let the community do that or something. I mean, FIFA do it all the time when it, I know you've got a much bigger database, but FIFA do it every week. They update the players every single week. I fear that it shouldn't take as much resources as they're suggesting, especially given they're now giving themselves an extra 6 months to make FM26, or basically make this game. But even further than FM26, is this going to have an impact on the actual franchise as a whole? Is this a FM is dead kind of scenario? I mean, I don't think so right now. That's why there's probably a question mark in the thumbnail. I don't think so right now. It's probably, it's terrible news, and it's definite code red panic stations for people that really love this game. I think the real test will be FM26. If FM26 is golden, if it's a sick game, I think people will genuinely forget about it for real. Like, I don't think we'll even be having this conversation in November. If the game comes out, it works fine, the engine looks sick, you've got women's football in the game as well. I didn't even actually mention that, to be honest with you. That's another thing that's going to be in FM26, which is sick. I like that. It's always good to have a bit more sort of inclusivity, sorry, when it comes to that sort of thing. That's not the reason the game's delayed. I've seen people saying that. Don't be fucking stupid. Like, I know they just said that sort of squad updates take quite a long time. It's not to the point where it would have taken them a year to sort out the game. The same stuff under the hood in terms of mechanics of transfers and how the players play is still going to be pretty similar, if not the same, for the women's side of the game. That's not the reason. It's obviously the Unreal Engine stuff. So that'll be cool when that gets added. But if the game is sick, I genuinely, it won't be forgotten because it will still be, but it will be the most hyped up Football Manager release of all time. So there will be a lot of pressure. But overall, feelings, sadness. I love this game. I love playing it. And I don't know really if I'm going to have the interest level in a game that's like already over a year old, a year and a half basically old, by the time the game was this new game was supposed to come out, to really keep playing it. So we'll see. But let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. I'm sure there might be a different audience base watching this video in comparison to the normal, because I don't ever talk about Football Manager on the channel. Obviously, there's a lot of crossover between my usual audience and people who play Football Manager. But if you're a devout Football Manager player who's just coming across this channel, first of all, would really appreciate it if you do subscribe and you do like the video, if you did enjoy my views or opinions or whatever. If you do want to see me actually play Football Manager, go and follow my Twitch. It's down in the description below. I'll be starting to stream. I've got to move like house in the next month. So, but after I've sorted that out, I'll be back streaming regularly. I will play FM24 on stream. Might as well start a new save. We've got the time now. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. That's what I was trying to say. I've played this game for probably 6 or 7 years. A lot of people have played this since they were kids, like very, very young. So would love to know your opinions on what must be one of the maddest moments, really, in Football Manager history, if not the maddest moment overall. As I said, if you have enjoyed, feel free to slap a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. It really sort of helped me out. You can also become a member by hitting the join button down below, best way to support the channel. And you can follow me on social media. It's at TheOfficialFNG on Twitter, Insta, TikTok, and, as I mentioned, on Twitch. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. It's actually not been a pleasure at all, to be honest. It's actually hella depressing.